Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been about a month since I last put out a video. Apologies for that. The summer holidays basically shuts down production here. The kids are just way too noisy to get anything filmed, so apologies for that, but I'm back now with another video. So over that summer period, I've been on a bit of an amp journey, and to begin with, I picked up a Boss Katana Gen 3. My thought process there was, hey, this is a really versatile amp. It's great for practice, it's great for recording, you know, you can get all sorts of different sounds. I really wanted to try that pushed mode, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, if I really like the Katana, well, I can sell the Tone Master to A, fund it, and B, get a little bit extra back, because the Tone Master's quite an expensive amp. So I went to Anderton's to get the Gen 3, I went to the store. I probably should have tried the amp in the store, but I didn't. I just bought it and took it home, tried it, and I wasn't blown away immediately, to be honest. I couldn't really get it to sound how I like the Tone Master to sound, and I don't know, I just wasn't getting on with it. But anyway, look, I didn't have a lot of time to try it on that first day, so I left it, tried it again the next day, and really it was the same thing. Now that's not to say that the Katana is in any way a bad amp. In fact, I think it's an excellent amp. There's so many features in it. It's great for recording, great for practice, and even great for live use if you're using the 100-watt version. It just didn't do the thing for me that the Tone Master did. So look, I made the decision that, yeah, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to return this. So that was amp 1. Honestly, I don't really know why I ended up on this amp journey at all, to be honest. I've been very happy with the Tone Master for some time. I guess there's always that niggling thing in the back of my mind that, oh, it's not a tube amp. I'm such a guitarist. Anyway, I do what I normally do. I'm looking on Facebook and eBay and all of that, and I find a pretty good deal on a Marshall DSL 40C. So that's, one of the kind of lower end Marshall valve amps. I've had the CR version before, which is the slightly newer, updated version. But this one was really, really cheap, and it was quite local to me. I won the bid on eBay and I collected it. I think it was the same day or maybe the next day. I can't remember. I got it home, and straight away I was like, oh yeah, this is the thing. So my history with amps is really, I'm a Marshall guy, and look, I know that Marshall isn't really the kind of go-to amp these days, and people have kind of moved on to more modern brands, and some of that is Marshall's own doing, some of that is just, tastes have changed. But deep down, I've always loved the sound of a Marshall. So my first proper amp, if you like, my first expensive amp, I guess, although not as kind of expensive as today's amps, was a JCM 2000, and in fact I started with the triple super lead, had a bunch of problems with that amp, and eventually decided to downgrade to the dual super lead, the DSL, and actually I much preferred the sound of that one. So I had that for ages. That was my kind of intro into the world of tube amps, and it was the amp that I used for years. I gigged that amp to death. Really, I made a bit of a stupid mistake in part Xing that amp for a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier, which, 2000s, has a lot to answer for. I really wish I'd kept it, but at the end of the day I'd moved it on, and I'd moved all of that stuff on. This is years ago now. So yeah, like I say, Marshall, it's my thing, right? And a lot of my favourite players use Marshall. John Frusciante, have I mentioned him before? Hey guys, just cutting in quickly to say, if you are enjoying the video, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Really helps out and gets the video in front of more people. Really appreciate it. Cheers. So at this point I still had the Tone Master and I had a DSL, and I discovered that I really loved the Marshall, right? And I was like, you know what, I think it's time we get serious with this valve amp thing, and I'm gonna get an amp that I really want. So I've been after one of the Marshall Studio range amps for quite a while, one of the 20 watt like mini, not really mini head, but the smaller head versions of their kind of classic amps. Was never quite sure which one, although I was leaning pretty strongly to one. John Frusciante, did I mention him? So I was kind of keeping an eye out, right? Keeping an eye out on eBay and what have you for a deal, because I've discovered I also like to get deals. Sick of buying brand new and selling it 5 minutes later. So anyway, I spot a Marshall Silver Jubilee on eBay, the 2525 head version. It was at a starting bid of 500 quid. It had no bids on it at that point. And I thought, I'll reach out for a cheeky offer, shall I? So I contacted the guy and asked, you know, are you open to offers on this? And he came back and said, well, you know, the minimum I'd take is 500, the starting bid price. For me, that was like, yeah, that's a deal. And, you know, I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go straight away. Sorted it all out. I think I collected it that night, and yeah. Oh my God, it's heavy. Here it is, the Silver Jubilee. And this is actually, oh, I'm hitting my microphone. And I couldn't believe how clean this was. It was basically brand new. He had the box and everything. The guy had a like home studio set up. He bought this with the intention of recording it with like a low box or something, but said that, you know, he found really he uses quad cortex more than anything, and, you know, needed a bit of cash, wanted a bit of cash, and thought, well, you know, I'm just gonna let this go. So I think I got a pretty good deal on a basically new Silver Jubilee. I was happy with it anyway. So the next dilemma, the next stage of this amp journey was a cab. You know, I bought a head. I don't have a bloody cab to run the thing through. So, you know, at first I was kind of just plugging it into my DSL cab, you know, sitting the head on top of the DSL and doing it like that. But, you know, that's not ideal. I want to take the amp places. I don't want to lug the DSL and the head. That's ridiculous. So I was on the hunt for a cab. I was looking at a couple of different types and what have you, but let's be honest, I was never going to be happy unless I got the matching Silver Jubilee vertical 2x12, which is what I've done. It's not in this shot, but I'll put some clips of, you know, the whole thing, how it looks in my in the bedroom where it normally lives. And the final piece of this amp puzzle, I really wanted to be able to record with this amp and do that silently. It's also an extremely loud amp. I mean, it may only be 20 watts, but, you know, 20 watt valve amp, that's a loud amp. And, you know, these amps often need to be run quite high on the volume to get them sounding, you know, how you would want them to sound, to get them into that sweet spot. Even though it's a master volume amp, I do find that it sounds better when you crank that master volume, right? So I picked up one of these. It's 2 notes Torpedo Captor X. So I can use this to both attenuate the amp and do some silent recording. I haven't really used this much at all yet, other than, you know, the attenuation. It's got a 3-way switch, which gives you kind of full power, a middle setting, and then a low setting. And I found that really the low setting isn't really all that useful unless you know, really want to play your valve amp at like 12 o'clock at night or something like that. It's just way too quiet. Maybe it works better with, you know, the higher wattage amps. I'd suggest that's probably more what that's for. So you can run like 100 watt plexi or whatever at full pelt and attenuate that all the way down. But for the 20 watt amps, I think it's a bit too quiet. The middle one, again, perhaps a little bit on the quiet side, but it does mean that you can crank the amp and not kill your ears and not upset your neighbours. Or at least they haven't knocked so far anyway. So, you know, the video isn't a review of the Captor X or a review of the Silver Jubilee. This I'm still getting to grips with. I haven't really used it for any recording yet. Although the clips that you see in this video will be recorded with this. I just haven't actually plugged it into my computer or anything yet. So that'll be fun. But yeah, cool piece of kit. So I know I've talked an awful lot already, but I feel like we should... Hello, cat. I feel I feel like we should probably cover some of the features of the amp. So it's a 2-channel amp with a shared EQ section, and you have the channel switcher on a push-pull pot on the output volume, which is a little bit weird, but of course you can use a foot switch for that. It's a bit weird doing it like that, but it's just, you know, the design of the amp. You also have a rhythm clip push-pull pot on the input gain as well. So you pull that out and it gives you like a kind of shift in EQ and adds an extra clipping stage into the signal. So you know that's good on, you know, both channels. You can get a more crunchy sound out the clean channel, or you can get a, you know, more pushed sound out of the overdrive channel. You good up there? Sniska. Butthole on my amp. I'm mainly using the amp on the clean channel, set to kind of edge of breakup sound, where you're just getting that kind of crunch coming through if you hit harder. Probably not really using the amp to its full potential, given that, you know, it's well known for its drive channel. But, you know, I do intend to use that more in the future. I'm just getting to know the amp a bit. For now, I've been mainly using pedals in front of the clean channel. The Fender Deluxe Reverb Tone Master has gone. The DSL 40C has gone. The Katana Gen 3 went back. This is the only amp I have now, and it's, you know, the amp I'm going to use for all of my recording going forward. So you'll hear it a lot more on the channel when I can be bothered to bring it downstairs and set it up. If not, it'll be the Tonex, right? Right? I'm lazy, okay? So I've jabbered on for ages now. I think it's about time we do a bit of a demo. You will have heard some clips already throughout the video, but yeah, this is the kind of full demo. We'll do clean tones, breakup tones. We'll use the dirty channel as well, and also push that with a boost pedal or SD1 or something like that. So you check out the demo and come back for final thoughts. So what did you think of the Silver Jubilee? Did you like the way it sounds? I found that, you know, I had to tweak that EQ quite a lot, and there's actually a surprising amount of movement in your mids and your bass. For me, I have to crank the bass quite a lot on this amp, and I really have to bring the mids way back and the treble to get that kind of darker sound, but still with that clarity in the top end. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way I like to run it. Obviously, you have to tweak it per guitar. I have to have it set up quite differently for my humbucker bass guitars. Haven't quite gotten to grips with it for humbuckers yet, particularly for my Mariposa. I quite like the way it sounds with my SG, but yeah, just not quite there with the Mariposa yet. But yeah, overall, I really like the amp. So yeah, that's the Silver Jubilee. Let me know if you've gone on any kind of ridiculous amp journeys. What's your favorite amp? What, you know, do you prefer valve amps? Do you prefer digital amps, or just digital in general? Let me know what you think. I'm an old school guy, really at heart. I like the technology, but I also like the classic stuff, the original analog stuff. So the two things kind of clash all the time. Anyway, a lot of talking in this one. If you did make it all the way to the end, thanks for checking out the video and sticking around. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, you know, if you want to check out another video, I took a look at my buddy Ben's Jaguar Baritone Custom. That was the last video before this one on the channel. I'll link that over here. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.